what's going on, internet? The Hokage, aka TVH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome you guys back to my show, Hokage Thots, the show where ain't no hoes, but we do think out loud here at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever you use to listen to this show. Show's canceled, y'all. I apologize, yo. Oh my god, I had one of them fucking, what is that joint? Them little fancy ass carbonated waters. The raspberry joint. I'm on my white girl shit, bro, and that carbonation just through my system. I apologize for that, but y'all know I only do one take. I'm not editing that out, so y'all can enjoy that. Are you not entertained? Yo, I just straight violated everybody's ears, bro. Anyways, today in which I'm recording this episode is November 8th, 2019, and I want to kick the show off by reminding everyone to rate this show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if you enjoy it. I mean, come on, who else is gonna burp in your ear? Are you not fucking entertained? Rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts because it helps push the show in the algorithm, which, you know, gets me more listeners when the show is pushing the algorithm, and I need more listeners because I'm poor. If you want to further support the show, you can head over to redcircle.com/shows/Hokage Thots, and you can subscribe for $5, or you can make a one-time donation for however much you like. Just look for the red sponsor this podcast button right below the cover art. Anyone who subs or donates will be shouted out on the next episode. And of course, if you cannot financially support the kid, just tell a friend to tell a friend about the show so they can know about what's going on. I mean, how else would they know about the dire situation going on in America if they weren't listening to this podcast? You don't know what I'm talking about? This is how we're going to open up the podcast. Over here in North America, Totino's Pizza Rolls is having a fucking just a problem. They're having a terrible situation. An epidemic is going on. So for those of you unaware, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which sucks, by the way, it's terribly optimized. If you not see the video, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/theblack-hokage, and watch a video called Call of Duty Uninstalled Warfare. Game sucks. But anyway, for those of you who are dumb enough to still continue to play this game, there's another problem going on. You guys know how they do all these promotions every year for Call of Duty. What's associated with Call of Duty? Mountain Dew, Doritos, and the third one, Totino's Pizza Rolls. Totino's, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not trying to burp in your ear. Oh my god, I shouldn't have drank that. What is that fucking carbonated drink called? Fucking carbonated I'm about to Google this shit. I forgot in the trash. I'm not gonna go in the drink. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That bougie ass white girl drink they be having and shit. That's supposed to, you know, it's not soda, but whatever. Anyways, that shit is, I don't normally drink stuff like that, and it's going through my system. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Totino's Pizza Rolls is having a fucking problem, man. Okay, so for those of you unaware, they're doing a promotion with Call of Duty Modern Warfare where you too can get double XP if you just destroy your body by eating Totino's pepperoni pizza rolls or any pizza roll flavor, cheese, whatever ones that you like, whatever, you know. Because you don't know how to cook, you're a microwave chef. But the problem with this is people on Twitter are complaining that they're not getting their double XP, and the reason is because Totino's was dumb enough to put the promotion codes on the outside of the package, not the inside. Because if the code was on the inside of the package, then you would actually have to buy it. Otherwise, you would have to open it in the store, and then you're committing a crime, you know, because you don't want to contaminate food or whatever. Although that was a challenge like a few months ago where people were like opening ice cream lids and licking them. That was like a challenge. So maybe, I don't know what the kids are into these days. You guys are into committing crimes for clout. I don't know. Not my thing. But these motherfuckers were dumb as fuck to put the actual XP codes on the outside of the Totino's packages. So what people are doing, and first of all, Totino's, don't sue me. I'm just sharing the story. I'm not encouraging this behavior. None of my listeners, please do not go to your local grocery store and do this. But what people are doing is they are going to the grocery store, they're going to the aisle, the frozen food aisle where the Totino pizza rolls are, they're grabbing the package, they're taking a picture of the code, and then they're going home and they're claiming the code. So then when people actually go to buy them for the extra XP or whatever, the codes aren't working because they're already claimed. So fucking people on Twitter are on their ass on fucking Totino's, like, yo, I bought these motherfucking pizza, I bought the 100-pack of pizza rolls and I can't even get my XP. I mean, the easy solution was stop eating Totino's Pizza Rolls, because first of all, somebody should sue you for, you probably eat kids cuisine too. Somebody should fucking sue you for eating that shit. But Totino's, you guys took a big fat L for this shit. Well, I don't know why you did this. So if you go to their Twitter, they're just constantly replying to people, sorry. There's nothing they can do because they've already printed like hundreds of thousands or millions. I don't know how many pizza rolls they print out. I don't know. So just letting you know, if you're into Call of Duty and you're trying to find a way to get some double XP, do not buy Tortino's pizza rolls, because 9 times out of 10, somebody's probably already used the code. And you need to learn how to cook anyway. So stop eating that shit. Other quick news, Suge Knight, he signed over his life rights to Ray J since the last podcast. Now, why does that matter? You know, just in case, just letting you guys know, just in case that, first of all, good for him. You know, he needs money on his books. I think he's like in prison or something. So, you know, he can get a couple extra honey buns or whatever. Good for him. I shouldn't have said that. You gonna eat your cornbread, head ass. Anyways, this is good for him because it's gonna bring in a little bit of extra income, even though he signed his whole life away. But this is also good because, you know, there's been rumors that there could be another chance for another Def Jam type of game, Def Jam Fight for New York or Def Jam Vendetta. Because Ray J has the rights to Suge Knight, that means even though he's in jail, there's a chance that Suge Knight could be in the next Def Jam. I'm just putting it out there. He could be the final boss. You know, everybody is scared of him anyway, so you can make him the final boss. Matter of fact, what was it in Def Jam Fight for New York? That bald-headed dude that was the final boss, he was like the club boss or whatever. Like, no, because Snoop Dogg was the final boss. Was that in the first or the second one? There was a bald-headed dude that looked like Suge Knight. Was it the first or the second one? It might have been the first one. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything about anything. Anyways, the point being is, look out for Suge Knight, possibly in the next Def Jam. I'm just putting it into the air. What's the name? Oh, and the fucking chicken sandwiches. They're back. So Popeyes finally brought back their chicken sandwiches. The chicken flu is in full effect. I just wanted to put this out there once again. I've already said it in the last time we talked about the chicken flu. I'm disappointed in humanity. And just first of all, this one's worse than the last chicken sandwich craze because the hype was so real because they made people wait. People downloaded. First of all, did y'all know that Popeyes had an app? People downloaded you gave your data up to Popeyes to fucking get a chicken sandwich so you didn't have to wait in line for the damn chicken sandwich. But this one was crazy. There was videos all over social media. People were fighting, people were shouting at each other, people didn't know how to wait in line like kindergartners because they just want this chicken sandwich so bad. But the pinnacle of this whole situation is that someone died over this chicken sandwich. Someone got stabbed in line. He got into a heated debate, I guess, with this person, and he ended up getting stabbed in line waiting for a chicken sandwich. And a lot of people were like, oh, you know, he died over a chicken sandwich. Imagine, which, you know, that was my original take on it, because like, imagine losing your life over a $4 chicken sandwich. But if you read more into this story, you'll find what the media is, most of the media, I don't want to say all, most of the media is not reporting, is the two individuals that got into it, they had previous beef in the streets before this whole chicken sandwich. It wasn't actually over a chicken sandwich. It was one of those things like, you know, when people say on site, it was literally on site. Like, they both was in line to get a chicken sandwich and they had previous beef, and it was on site, and he pulled up and stabbed the dude. So that's really what it was. They actually had beef already. And unfortunately some shit popped off in the Popeyes, but the media picked it up and made it seem like it was over the chicken sandwich, which, you know, bravo to Popeyes, because you can't, even though somebody died over your chicken sandwich, they say any type of promotion is good promotion. There's no such thing as bad promotion. Like, Popeye's name is just ringing bells. So like, somebody died over this fucking chicken sandwich. RIP to dude. Popeyes is getting amazing fucking promotion for this shit. And I'm just losing hope in society. And we gotta do better, man. We gotta fucking do better. I still have yet to try the Popeyes chicken sandwich. To be honest, like, because of all this shit that's popping off, I kind of don't even want to try it. I've heard it's not even that great. So y'all can have that. Maybe like a year or two down the road when the hype dies down, maybe one day I'll go to Popeyes and try it out. But you motherfuckers ain't stabbing me over no damn chicken. I'm good. All right, so what we talking about today? We're gonna get a little bit into the gaming. We're gonna get a little bit into, I just named this section Q&A because it's like the topics are kind of all over the place. You're talking about life, like networking and like some other stuff, and then a couple of music suggestions, but nothing too crazy, you know. But since I'm known for the gaming, you know how we do, we got to get into the gaming first. So first things first, everybody says that I don't beat my games. That's a lie. I beat my games, the ones that I like. but I will uninstall you. Let me know on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Respond to this question. Let me know if you guys would like to see a top 10 uninstall games of 2019, because I did uninstall a lot of games. That's because I just don't have the patience for bad games, but we're not gonna get into that because today we're talking about a good game. I actually made fucking full notes for this shit. Let me bring up my notes real quick. So the game that I completed on stream at twitch.tv/theblack-hokage. Be sure to follow me on Twitch. I stream not every day, I stream like at least 5 days a week. Usually like early afternoon to the evening. Hit that follow button, hit the ring bell, twitch.tv/theblack-hokage. I beat the Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is a new space RPG from Obsidian Games. If you're unfamiliar with Obsidian Games, they are the creators of Fallout New Vegas, as well as, what was it, KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2, I believe. And then they also created something else. They have a good pedigree for making good games. They're known mostly for RPGs. This is a space RPG. They're calling it like a spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas. And I mean, that's the first thing I'm going to say about it. Like, first of all, if you want to know, yes, I do recommend the game. But second of all, if you like Fallout, you're going to enjoy this game because it's pretty much Fallout in space. What's the name? I wrote down 7 positives and 1 negative. And this is what I got to say about the game. First things first, story, not going to spoil anything too much, but basically like you're somebody who stumbles upon like a space colony and needs some help. The government's doing dubious things, therefore you have to do tasks for other people, interact with other people and try to figure out what's going on in this colony, what type of experiments and stuff like that. And basically you get to shift the world of this space colony. But that's kind of like a very general version of it. First positive, the world. One thing I really love about this game is the world is very colorful. This is not a bland brown looking game. There's plenty of colors and all the creatures are really interesting looking. They got like space tigers and fucking space iguanas and shit like that. So the world is very colorful. It's very nice to look at. It's very sharp. The character design is pretty decent. The mouth could use the mouths, like the way they move, could use a little bit of decent work, but a better work, but it's all right. But what I really love about this world is not only the characters interesting, the colors and the actual like different environments are interesting, but this is like, I wouldn't call it an open world game, but maybe like a semi open world game where like, it's kind of like Mass Effect where you get there's different missions on different planets with side missions and main missions. And each map you can explore and go any way that you want at any time. But the thing is, each map is it's not big, but it's not small either. It's kind of somewhere in between. So you never really felt overwhelmed. And that's kind of been my problem with a lot of games nowadays. Every game feels the need to be Assassin's Creed. Like that's the problem with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you spend 30 minutes in a helicopter flying to your next mission. You get to the mission, you do some stupid escort mission, then you got to fly 30 minutes back. And in the whole time you're looking at nothing. Like this world is a little bit smaller and contained. It feels more alive because there's so many characters with so many different dialogue trees and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that they scaled back the world. I don't know if their original plan was to make it bigger. I just appreciate that they scaled back, made it a little bit more linear, but still gave you, it's one of those things where like, it's not big, but if you explore every nook and cranny, you'll find surprises and you'll meet new characters, find new missions, and that's really dope. So it's one of those games where it's like it's like as big as you want it to be, if that makes sense. Like it has a very linear path, but then there's still a lot. It still gives you a little wiggle room, to explore. So that's my first positive. I really like the world, the characters, and the colors. Second positive, deep customization. This game has crazy. I spent an hour creating my character, Aisha Uzumaki, and I gotta 2 points for the Outer Worlds, because y'all know I've been making videos like this is like become a trend recently, like in the black gaming community. I see a lot of people complaining about how we need more character customization options for like black characters. I've been saying this for years. If you go watch my dialogue, my videos on YouTube or whatever, but they have realistic looking dreads, the other realistic black haircuts. It's not just the standard afro. They have different skin tones, which look really nice. So if you're a black person or a person of color, you're gonna have fun being able to create an actual character that looks somewhat like you or whatever you want to create, because I created a woman. There's deep customization with the character creator. There's deep customization with the weapons. Because it's an RPG, you're going to constantly be picking up new weapons and trying out with new different like perks and abilities. But then also there's a workbench, so you can upgrade those weapons. You can add different like mods to it, like scopes and being able to swing faster and reducing the breakdown of the weapons, because the weapons do break down at a certain point and you have to repair them. But it sounds annoying, but it wasn't. Like, I think I used a stun baton like half the game. I think I repaired it maybe twice. Like, it's if you build it right, you really don't have to worry about that shit. So like I said, they got the workbench, the character customization is deep, and the weapon customization is deep, as well as you have like teammates and you can customize them and do all that stuff too. And then there's also like a skill tree with different like abilities, because I mean, it's an RPG, come on bro. So you know I love that deep customization. Third positive, there is dialogue trees. Y'all know I love any game with dialogue trees. This is a game where you get to choose your own adventure. There are dialogue trees. Everything is fully voice acted, so when you run into characters, you're gonna get different options of things you want to say, and based off those interactions, that's going to shape your story, which goes into another positive. There's replayability here because there's multiple endings. I forgot how many endings they said, but I'm pretty sure they said there was more than 2 endings. There's a bunch of different endings, and it's really cool because when you complete the game, it goes through and it shows you how your actions affected the world and how that's can change it, and you can go back and play it, whatever. But the dialogue trees, there's a ton, and then they have like, you can play like the good guy, you can play the intimidator, or you can just play the person who attacks everybody, and that's actually my 4th positive. I think I gave you 4 positives right there with the multiple endings. Yes, I gave you 4 positives already. Dialogue tree was 3, then replayability with the multiple endings is 4. So 5 would be, I know this sounds weird, this sounds fucking Joker homicidal, but you can kill anybody in this game. Bravo. Bravo. If you follow me on twitch.tv/theblack Hokage, come through to the streams. I stream in the evenings at least 5 days a week. Shameless plug. You would know I did a mass genocide playthrough. Boy, oh my fucking god. If you looked at me the wrong way, I killed you. If you fucking sneezed at me, I killed you. It was times where, like, I'm not gonna lie, because I do enjoy games with like dialogue trees, but I hate characters that just be talking for the sake of talking. It's not actually pushing the narrative forward, or it's not an interesting, funny side mission. So then you're just kind of talking. I'm like, dude, you talk too fucking much, bro. So then like, you literally can just end the conversation and hit him upside the head with a fucking billy club, or shoot him in the fucking face. And depending, because like, it was plenty of times where like, this is really cool, because there was plenty of times where I literally murdered an entire town and I still was able to finish the game. I love it. I love it. There's plenty of missions where like, I would talk to somebody and they would be like, oh, you need this card key to get into this room? Well, I need you to go do this for me. And I'm like, I'm not doing this fetch quest. So what I would do is I would just shoot him in the face, and then I would kill their guards and I would take the key card from them, rob them, and then I complete the mission. If I needed more XP, I would just go out into the world and I would kill like monsters to XP farm. So that was really cool that you can kill everyone in the game. I don't remember the last time a game, or if a game even let you. When I say anybody, I mean the civilians, the NPCs, the wildlife. It was a lot of fun. It did make the game a little bit harder, because it's not fun when you have a bunch of armored guards inside of a city attacking. You literally have like 100 people. But if you upgrade your character correctly, use your slow down time and shoot people in the head, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Number 6, interesting characters. This is a world full of interesting characters. It actually made the game kind of hard to stream. This is one of the games that I struggle to stream, because it is very dialogue heavy, so you have to be fooling. If you don't stream or make YouTube videos, this isn't going to be a problem for you. But the characters are interesting, and it's kind of hard to pay attention when you're streaming, because you also want to pay attention to your chat. But for me, I was perfectly fine. For the most part, I would just really try to pay attention. There was some really funny dialogue. Like, there was like one storyline that kind of stood out to me. It was like a side mission. It was like when you were in a colony, it was a side mission and you had to help the dude. And the only reason they let him into the colony is because he posed as an engineer in that colony, or that camp. I mean, it needed an engineer, so they let him in, and he lied. He knew how to do like some basic mechanics or whatever, but they needed him to fix like some spaceships or some shit like that. So then you had to go on this mission where you had to find him like 3 engineering magazines so he could teach himself how to engineer, because he was nervous that he would get caught for being a liar. I thought that was pretty funny. And that's a side mission. That's like no spoiler. And he was just acting really nervous and all this other stuff. So I thought that was pretty funny. And there's a lot of interesting characters. And my 7th and my final positive for this game is that, believe it or not, and it's really, really sad that I'm saying this in 2019, but this game is optimized. I got it on PC. Not a single problem. Not one stutter. Not one crash. Why did I put up 2 fingers? If you're watching the video version, I put up 2 fingers. I have problems. I don't know. I didn't have nothing, bro. I didn't run into any like crazy glitches. I'm not saying they're not in the game. I'm not saying you won't run into them. I'm just telling you from my personal experience, I didn't run into any game-breaking bugs. My game didn't crash. I wasn't dropping frames. And I was running the game on high, like it was in streaming it. This game was beautifully optimized on PC, so I would imagine that it's probably going to be optimized on console. And it's just, I feel like in 2019 we gotta give developers praise for putting a little bit of extra tender love and care in their games, because right now it seems like that's not the norm. It seems like we're beta testing every game that comes out, and this didn't feel like a beta test. This feels like a game that was made with love. This feels like a game that is as big as you want it to be. You can explore, you can just run through the story if you want to, or you can really take your time, upgrade your character, explore, kill big monsters, do the side missions, get to know the world and stuff like that. It's one of those games where like, if you just run through the story, you can beat it in like 20 to 30 hours. But if you really sit there and do like the side missions and stuff, it can be like 50 plus hours if you want it to be. So it's one of those games where it's like, it's as long as you want it to be. And I like games like that because time is of the essence nowadays. I don't have a lot of free time, so I appreciate it. Not this big, crazy open world RPG. I ended up beating this game in like a week and maybe like a half, like a week and a few days. So not bad, not bad. If you're wondering why I have not mentioned any crazy negatives for this game, believe it or not, I sound like Goofy. I legit don't have like any crazy negatives. I literally like, so I really, this is one of the, I rarely, like I make show notes every time, but like I just put like little bullet points and I just kind of freestyle what I talk about. I really put some detailed notes for this show because I was reviewing this game. I didn't want to miss anything. And I literally had to sit there and think pretty hard, like, what negative do I have to say about this game? And the only negative I could come up with after fucking sitting there thinking is, and this is me I'm nitpicking. My one negative is there's like no mini map on the game, or there's no way to like access the map quicker. And the reason that matters is, I said, like, this is a semi-open world game. The maps aren't humongous, but they're big enough to where you do need to check the map here and there to make sure that you know where you're going in the right direction. And in the game, you have to hit like the back button on the controller, and then you have to hit the right bumper over like 4 times in order to get to the map, and then you look to see if you're going in the right direction. It would have been nice to have like a mini map on the lower left or right or whatever, somewhere on the screen where I can look to make sure that I know I'm going in the right direction, like a compass or some shit like that. But I mean, they had something at the top, but it wasn't a very good compass. It would have just been nice to have a mini map so I know where I'm going, or just a faster way to access a map, like being able to just hit the back button and it goes straight to the map. But having to press basically start and then scrolling over to several menus to get to the map just to check you're going in the right direction, it was a little annoying. It was, but that was a minor gripe. I got through the game. The positives will far outweigh the negatives. And because of that, you're probably wondering, well, what's my recommendation? Like I said earlier, yes, I recommend the game. Yes, it's worth $60, and I would argue this is easily one of the contenders for game of the year. Although I feel conflicted saying that, because it's like, to me, like, I really haven't played that many great games in 2019. I still got to go back and play Astro Chain. Pretty sure that's going to be really good. I'm not playing Death Stranded because I know I'm not going to like that. But we're not. This is Outer Worlds review. We're not going to sit here and talk about all the other games. This is definitely a game of the year contender. If you're looking for a fun RPG, if you've never played an RPG, I don't know if this will be for you. You never played Fallout, you've never played Mass Effect, The Witcher. I don't know if this game will be for you. Go for it, maybe. But if you do enjoy RPGs like this is right up your lane. You're really gonna love this game. This is a game that was made with love, and I appreciate that. And I think it's important that we show that we appreciate the developers, man, because it's not enough of y'all out here creating games that just are fun. They work. They don't take all your fucking time up. And I had a blast. So shout out to the Outer Worlds. Highly recommend it. And now that we're done talking about the Outer Worlds, I want to let you guys know that Hokage Thots is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning service that is out of this world. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of amazing classes covering dozens of creative entrepreneurial skills. You can take classes in everything from photography and creative writing to design, productivity, and more. So whether you're returning to a long-time passion project, challenging yourself to get outside of your comfort zone, or simply just exploring something new, Skillshare classes are for you. Now, I've been editing for a very long time, but that doesn't mean I ain't trying to learn something new, because who doesn't want their videos to look even cooler? And some of the tutorials I've been checking out is animating Final Cut Pro 10 by Patrick Daverson. And the reason being is I just want to be able to add cool little effects, animations onto the screen. And if I can start with the basics before I move into motion, I want to try that out. And then I've also been checking out Film School Online DaVinci Resolve by Alex. The reason I've been checking this one out is because I want to learn how to edit on PC, just in case, you know, my Mac ever break down, because, you know, then you can just switch over to PC and it wouldn't be an issue. And the reason that learning is important to me, learning these things at least, is, to be honest, y'all know I'm trying to get to a bag. I'm trying to get to this money, and knowledge is power. And it's not enough to just know, you got to put that knowledge into practice. And these tutorials are really helping me learn some new things so that honestly I can get even more money out here. What I really like about Skillshare though is the courses are broken down into these short bite-sized chapters. Some are a minute, some are 5, some are 3. So you don't have to sit there and watch a super long video. It really breaks it down for you so that you can digest it a little bit better. And it just gets straight to the point when they do it like that. That's what I hate about YouTube tutorials, is they want to do a whole 5-10 minute introduction. Skillshare, it gets to the point and it breaks it down a little bit so that you can digest it easier. So check it out. If you're interested in joining the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today, I got a special offer just for my listeners. Get 2 months of Skillshare for free. That's right. Skillshare is offering Hokage Thots listeners 2 months of unlimited access to thousands of classes for free. To sign up, go to Skillshare.com/Hokage. Again, that is Skillshare.com/Hokage to start your 2 months now. That's Skillshare.com/Hokage. Oh, next thing in gaming. This conversation came up in my Twitch chat like a few days ago, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write this down and put this on the podcast. Let's talk about it, man. Someone asked me, what are the most influential games of the last 10 years? And we had like a brief discussion on Twitch, but the reason I wrote it down is because I wanted to take the time to actually do some research, because like I came up with some games off the top of my head, but I was like, yo, 10 years is a long freaking time. Like 10 years, if we're counting from 2019 was 2009 to 2019. 2009 was before the PS4, and so that's the Xbox 360 PS3 era all the way to now. So that's like the span of like 2 generations. So it's like, that's a lot of freaking games. So I had to go back. I literally spent like an hour and a half doing some research. So like, I just want to say this off the top of my head. I apologize ahead of freaking time if I don't remember every fucking game that came out between 2009 and 2019. I did my best, but I don't have infinite amount of time. I spent like a couple hours doing some research, trying to figure out what are the most influential games of the last 10 years. So like I said, 2009 to 2019. Before I get into this list, I just want to explain where I'm going with, because when we were having this conversation on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheBlackHokage, a lot of people were kind of misconstruing the word influential, or maybe like we all have like different definitions of it, because like some people, I feel like a lot of people didn't understand the conversation in the chat. They were just picking games that they really liked. And like my list is mostly games that I don't even really play. Like a few of them I enjoyed, but some of them I didn't. I'm strictly going off of influence, impact on the culture. Did it influence game development? Did it influence how gamers act with one another? Like sales don't matter. All sales indicate is how popular something is, but something that's popular isn't necessarily influential. Like how many Instagram models do you know have like 3.5 million followers because they ass and they titties is out, but can't sell 2 shirts? You can only sell 2 t-shirts. You're not really influential. You're just cute, if that makes sense. So impact matters to me. So now that we got that out the way, and I'm gonna explain why I think these games are influential, let's talk about it. I actually broke it down into years because it's a lot of games. All right, so 2009 was a really good year for influential games. The first one that I put on my list for influential is Demon Souls. For those of you unaware, I think most people started playing Dark Souls. Demon Souls was the first in the series. It was Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 2, and was it Bloodborne, and then Dark Souls 3, and all the other spin-off of shit. So the reason I put Demon Souls on the list is because without Demon Souls, you wouldn't have the Dark Souls series and all that shit. But also Demon Souls, Dark Souls, we'll just put it together. It's easily one of the most influential games. Whether you like these games or not, just take a look around the gaming industry, bro. What do we got? We got The Surge, Neo, Sekiro, that new Star Wars game, The Fallen Jedi, that's Dark Souls influence, Demon Souls influence. like every like action game like in the past couple of years has been Demon Souls influenced. So I would say that this is easily one of the most influential games of the last 10 years from a mechanical standpoint, not necessarily like a cultural impact. Oh yeah, then you got Bloodborne too. Not necessarily from a cultural impact, but it has like its niche. People, a certain group of people love it, and it's been influential on game design, I think. The second influential game I got from 2009 is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 1 has like a cult following. It's personally my favorite in the original trilogy, but Mass Effect 2 is where a lot of people picked it up, and Mass Effect 2 to me was a little bit more influential in terms of game design, because like every RPG, including what we just talked about, the Outer Worlds, every RPG nowadays has the Paragon like Renegade dialogue trees or whatever. Mass Effect wasn't the first to do that, but I would argue it's probably what made it popular. And then also, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Mass Effect 2 was the first RPG, at least from what I've seen, that did companion quests. And like every RPG nowadays has companion quests. And then also Mass Effect 2, like I said, most people started with Mass Effect 2, so then that's when the series really started to boom. That's when you started getting all the crazy N7 Impact, everybody cosplaying as like the different characters, Thane and fucking all the other different characters and Garrus and all this shit. So I would argue Mass Effect 2 is very influential in the last 10 years in terms of game design as well as like cultural impact. I would put it in the same boat as like Demon Souls, Dark Souls. Very niche, a little bit less niche than Dark Souls. I think it's a little bit more mainstream, but even still, like it's influential. That's the point. Second influential, well, third influential game, 2009 League of Legends. Come on, bro. First of all, let's get something straight. I can't stand League of Legends. I don't like this clickety clackety ass game. Fucking, you just sit on your mouse. I just closed my fucking show notes. Oh my god, thank god. I'm glad I didn't fucking click and close this damn recording. Make sure. Yeah, I'm still recording. Okay. Okay, my show notes are back. League of Legends, I can't stand this fucking game, but you cannot deny it is one of the most influential games of the last 10 years. The entire esports fucking, well, I don't want to say entire because CSGO had a following. CSGO was like the grandfather of like esports, but it didn't really go mainstream until League of Legends. So there's that. Then think about how it influenced game design. Every company's got a MOBA nowadays because of League of Legends and how popular, and they see how much money it makes. Cosplaying League of Legends characters is big. People love cosplaying it, so it has that cultural impact. So across the board, League of Legends is easily one of the most influential. Also, I would argue that it influenced like pricing models, business models with their free-to-play model. They showed that you can do a free-to-play game. You can just make the entire game free and then charge for skins and stuff. So that's very influential. There's a ton of ways when you think about it. League of Legends influenced gaming today, from cultural to business to game design. And then last but not least, for 2009, I got Batman Arkham Asylum. Yeah, you forgot that game came out. This one's easy. First of all, before Batman Arkham Asylum, besides maybe Spider-Man 2, superhero games fucking suck. So Batman Arkham Asylum is influential for one reason and one reason only: game mechanics. Every like third person action game since Arkham Asylum has came out has ripped off Arkham Asylum. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you played whether you played Asylum or not, Asylum, Arkham City, Origins, any Arkham Knight, if you played any of the Batman Arkham series, you know the combat system with the whole press on the Xbox, at least, you press Y to counter and then X to attack or whatever. And it's like kind of like a rhythm based combat, and you can jump over people and combo and string things together. Fucking Spider-Man copied that shit. Like that's the easiest one I can think of off the top of my head. But like every third person action game has copied Batman Arkham's combat system. Freaking, I remember somebody saying that like one of the old Spider-Man games was the first to do it, but I don't remember that. Like, even if that's true, Arkham is what made it popular. It's heavily impacted game design. Moving on to 2010. 2010 is a little bit weaker, but this is what I got for 2010. NBA 2K11, very influential. NBA 2K has been around since Dreamcast, but 2K11 is what kind of started as the catalyst. for like what made 2K popular. This is when NBA Live was kind of on the decline. 2K11 came out, and this is the one with Jordan on the cover. This is when they had the Cruise on there and shit like that. This is kind of what started the 2K craze, which is we'll further get into and we'll talk about in 2013. That's why I would call it influential. It changed game design for like basketball games. And then FIFA. I put FIFA on 2010. FIFA. Okay, so I wanted to put FIFA. I didn't know what year to put it because I don't play FIFA, but I know all about it. And I'm pretty sure FIFA was the first game in the sports genre to include that ultimate team shit. And this is where we're going to talk about something negatively influential, because you can be influential both ways. I don't know what year it was, but I'm just going to put it on the 2010. So I apologize for not knowing which FIFA it was. Whatever FIFA was the first one to include fucking ultimate team. That's very influential, because once EA saw how much money, and for those of you who don't know what Ultimate Team is, it's the same as like My Team in 2K or Madden's Ultimate Team or whatever, where basically you buy packs, loot crates, and they give you certain players so you can create your dream team, but it's pay to win. You got to pay for the players or whatever, packs. FIFA is what made that shit popular, for those of you unaware. And then it influenced Madden, 2K, and every other freaking sports game. So I think that's a very influential game that people kind of sleep on, even though it was a bad influence. But people bought the shit, so it is what it is. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at NBA 2K11, I don't know. I might have to take that one off the list. Like, it was influential, but the next one the next 2K I'm going to talk about is probably a little bit more. I don't know. Well, we'll put that in the yellow zone. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that. I went through 2011's releases. I couldn't really find nothing, so we're moving on to 2012. 2012, Mass Effect 3. Very influential. The reason I put this one on the list is Mass Effect 3 proved that gamers had a voice, right? Like that whole phrase, rise up gamers, like that shit probably came from Mass Effect 3, bro, because that ending was fucking ass in Mass Effect 3. And it was so fucking bad, they made BioWare go back and change the ending. I don't think, even to this day, I don't know any game that was like, people hated the ending that much. They said, no, fix it. They held a gun to fix this shit. Fucking, so they made BioWare go back and fucking change the ending. And that is very influential, because I think that's the first time in the internet age that like gamers realize like, yo, we really have a voice in this shit. And I feel like gamers, since Mass Effect 3, gamers have become more vocal about what they want from their experiences. And that's, I guess, another negative influence. That's how I think Mass Effect influenced gaming culture, Mass Effect 3. So that's why I put that one on the list. I mean, like, this game had people so fucking pissed. And you think I'm playing? Go on YouTube and search the indoctrination theory. Somebody made an hour-long documentary trying to explain why the ending to Mass Effect 3 wasn't bullshit and it made complete sense. And the developers came out and said that it's not, his theory wasn't true, but it was still very interesting, very well made. So that's how I think Mass Effect 3 influenced gaming. The second one from a 2012 release, Borderlands 2. I was conflicted. I was like, I almost put the original Borderlands on there, but I was like, you know what? We're gonna go with Borderlands 2, because I think Borderlands 2 is where the series really took off. Borderlands 2 is very influential in gaming because it's the godfather of looter shooters. Without Borderlands 2, I'd argue we'd have no Destiny. We'd have no Anthem, which I guess is a good thing for a lot of people. What's another looter shooter? That new Marvel Avengers game from Square Enix. We wouldn't have that. Like all these looter shooters that we have nowadays. Remnant of Ashes, I think, is that a looter shooter? No, that's a Dark Souls. Oh well, never mind. That's how Demon Souls in 2009. Without Demon Souls, there would be no Remnant of Ashes. There you go. I just further proved my point. Back to 2012 though. Yeah, Borderlands 2 is very, very, very influential. This one's a little bit off the beaten path, I'm not gonna lie. Let me take a swig of this water and burn my voice. This one's off a little bit of beaten path, but 2012, a very influential game release I put on is, you guys remember that game, that indie game Journey? You played as that like red demon floating thing, floating through the sand and shit. The game was like 2 hours long. If you go back and watch the reviews for that game, fucking Games Media just praised that game out the woo-wah. This is the deepest game that we've ever seen, and blah 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 blah. I never played that shit. I'm never gonna play that shit because I'm not in the fake deep shit. But that being said, I still would say it's very influential for one reason and one reason only. Before that, like, indie games were a thing, like on Steam and like console, but I think Journey was like the catalyst to show people that, hey, you know, you don't have to be a AAA developer. You can make it as an indie developer and you can create a different experience that people would enjoy. Like I'd argue that like without Journey, we wouldn't have games like, I don't know, Bastion or what's that game with the Wispy Willows? What was that shit? Wispy Xbox. What's that fucking game with that little blue floating thing? Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking. Oh my god, it's gonna fucking drive me crazy. What was that game called? I played the game too. Platformer, Xbox, Wispy. I'm just gonna type Willows. Fucking, we wouldn't have Cuphead. Oh, Ori and the Blind Forest. There we go. We wouldn't have Ori and the Blind Forest. We wouldn't have fucking Cuphead. Like all these cool little kind of different indie games. That wasn't really a thing like 10 years ago. And indie studios have become on the rise and they offer different experiences. One of my favorite indie games is what's that damn Sonic game? I'm actually looking forward to the it's not fucking, god damn it, I'm having a brain fart. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm actually gonna open, do I want to open my Steam up? No, I don't want to open my Steam. Oh, you know what, I put it in my pocket. I put it in my story pockets and then I need to log in. Cool. But yeah, that's how I think Journey influenced the gaming industry. Oh, don't fucking save it. And of course I'm not logged in. Doesn't want to, fuck it, bro. Get over it. Y'all get the point. I'm over it. I'm not gonna look up that game. 2012 also was the release of CS:GO, Counter-Strike Go. I mean, that game kind of speaks for itself, bro. Very influential. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Going back to 2009. I apologize, I'm doing that. Going back to League of Legends. One more thing that I forgot to add to this. League of Legends, without League of Legends, there would be no Twitch. For those of you unaware, because I've been on Twitch since 2013. Twitch launched in 2011 when it converted from Justin TV to Twitch. And in the early Twitch days, Twitch was basically a League of Legends site. So League of Legends and Twitch went hand in hand. So the rise of Twitch is also the thing of League of Legends. It's also thanks to League of Legends, and League of Legends rise is also thanks to Twitch. Like they were like a symbiote kind of relationship. So without that, without League of Legends, you probably wouldn't have seen some of your favorite streamers. A lot of your favorite streamers started off playing, and they branched off into other things. My bad. All right, going back to 2012, CS:GO. Without CS:GO, I would argue the same thing. Like it influenced Twitch, but also it influenced a lot of game design. Freaking the way that the game works. Also their business practices. Also without CS:GO, we wouldn't have been able to get CS:GO Lotto. We wouldn't have been able to get on them great betting sites where people pretend to bet $50 and then they actually own the website. So that's another negative influence. Oh, fucking the Loots and the Paco, they did that shit too. So I mean, that's influence. And then another dark horse from 2012, The Walking Dead season 1. I would say that's very influential, bro. Point and click games have been a thing since the early 90s, since PC gaming has existed, to be honest. The 80s actually. But Walking Dead season 1 brought it back, I think. Like point and click games were dead. Then fucking Lee and Clementine's Adventures pulling on your heartstrings. Then we got a whole bunch of games like The Wolf Among Us, the Batman game, freaking what's the name? Something Rain. What was that shit called? Detroit Become Human. There's so many. What's the game where you play the little teenager and fucking you travel back in time and shit? What's that game called? Life is Strange. All these games they would not exist if it wasn't for The Walking Dead popping off, and that influenced game design. People saw, oh, there's money in this type of genre. We can create more story driven experiences where people just, you know, do QTEs and click what they want to do. So I would argue that had influence over the community. Oh, excuse me. And then also cosplay. People love cosplaying Clementine. By the way, did y'all know Clementine was black? I did not know, bro. I did not know that until like a year ago when Ethos told me. I was like, what the fuck? She's black? Why is she like a little white girl, bro? Yo, game developers, if y'all gonna make little black babies, put some black skin on that black baby. I'm just saying, damn. 2013. I only had one game on this list, and that was NBA 2K14. This one was influential for negative reasons. Well, two reasons. One negative, one. I can argue they're both negative, actually. So the first one is, maybe I'm wrong, it might have been 2K13, but I'm pretty sure it was NBA 2K14 which was the first game to bring VC into the game, virtual currency. Because for those of you unaware who haven't been playing 2K for a long time, it used to be it used to just be stat points. You used to just play the game, you grind your character, and you unlock stat points. Then they introduced VC into the game, and basically the game became completely pay to win, where yeah, you could grind your character, but they made it impossible to grind your character. So then it's like psychology. They basically they tempted you into buying VC so that you can upgrade your character. So then you had, the day the game came out, you had people running around 85 overall, 90s and shit on day one, because they basically paid for their player, which is some bullshit. So that was a negative influence. And that influenced 2K14 influenced the rest of the NBA 2Ks to where each year it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I remember when 2K14 came out, I remember telling people like, yo, don't buy this shit. Don't buy this fucking VC, because this shit is a trap. They are testing the waters, and people dip their toes in it. And now it's getting worse and worse. People fall to peer pressure. Just buy some VC. It's made the game worse. It's also influential in a sense. 2K14 was definitely the first year they introduced the park. Most people didn't even know, because they didn't have PS4s or Xbox Ones, that there was a park mode in there. I didn't even know there was a park mode in NBA 2K14. I found it by accident. I was like shuffling through the menus, and then I accidentally clicked my park, and then it loaded me into this shit. I was like, what is this shit? I was like, oh, people like running around and shit. And then I found it had voice chat, and that's when Jigaboo Jones was born. I was like, yo, this mode is kind of fun. And now 2K15 and 16 was when people actually really started to discover the park. So that's like a negative influence, because then that's when the YouTube era. 2K14 was like the real start of the YouTube era for 2K, and that's influential, because the 2K community is huge on YouTube. And the park is the birth of it, which came from 2K14. So that's how I think that influenced the community. And then also, like, look at FIFA. FIFA came out with their Volta mode, the little street mode. That's a copy of fucking 2K's park, so it's influencing game design as well. 2014, Destiny is the baby of Borderlands, but Destiny is also influential in itself, because everybody's copying Destiny. All these fucking looter shooters with the shared world, the different stats and the bonuses and shit in the story. You can put Borderlands and Destiny together, but I mean, like, I feel like that's an obvious one. Whether you like that game or not, Destiny is very influential. They have their own fucking conventions now. You can't say it doesn't have. They have Guardian Con down in Florida every year. That's influence. That's impact. The way people are cosplaying the characters. That's impact. Titanfall, very influential. 2014. Titanfall is just influential from a game design standpoint, not from a cultural impact. I don't think. I personally love Titanfall, specifically Titanfall 2. I like the first one too. It didn't have enough content, but the first one was good too. But Titanfall is influential from a gameplay standpoint, because, like, I don't know if y'all remember, after Titanfall came out, like, every shooter had a wall running mechanic in it. Just straight ripped off Titanfall 2, especially fucking Black Ops 3, and that was a good game, but it ripped off Titanfall. Come on, guys. So from a gameplay standpoint, Titanfall was one of the more influential games. And then also, without Titanfall, we wouldn't have gotten Apex Legends. So even though it's the same company, it did influence something. Influence game design, it influenced more games. So I mean, you gotta throw that on there. 2015, I didn't have anything, but 2016, I got one game, and that's Overwatch. After Overwatch came out, every game became a freaking, a hero shooter, a team-based hero shooter. So there's that influence. Everybody cosplays as Diva and freaking Tracer and freaking Reaper. Go to a convention, you're gonna find a million different fucking divas, I swear to God, because they all go on Amazon and they order a little tight ass suit so they can show their ass off, and I be looking. So it definitely had an impact on the community, not only from a gameplay standpoint, but also from like a cultural impact. People love the characters in Overwatch. You can't deny that Overwatch is very influential, and then also it pushes esports forward. From what I hear, though, the Overwatch League isn't doing the best right now, but I mean, at one point, it was one of the biggest things. It was on the front page of Twitch. Overwatch 2 is coming out. They had BlizzCon. You got to throw Overwatch in there. And then the last year that I have, because I couldn't find anything for 2018, and 2019 has been kind of rough to me. 2017, PUBG. I know it's fun to shit on PUBG, but at one point, PUBG was the top battle royale game. H1Z1 was the first to really like do it, but PUBG was the one that brought it to the forefront, to the mainstream. It's the one that got it right the first time, and I didn't put 500 hours into this game by accident. fucking the PUBG era on Twitch was great. Very, very influential to the Twitch community, very influential to game design, because everybody has a battle royale. Like, and you know, it's funny, we're gonna talk about Fortnite next. I wasn't gonna put this on the list, but then I thought about it and I decided to put it on. Without PUBG, Fortnite would not have existed. People, for those of you unaware, Fortnite was originally a tower defense game. Like, the crazy thing about Fortnite, I think I told this story on stream, but I'll tell it again just to document it for the podcast. I remember when Paragon was popping off. For those of you unaware, Epic Games, the creators of Fortnite, before Fortnite popped off, they had another game that they were working on called Paragon. It was a third-person MOBA, and that was their like bread and butter that they were really pushing for like 2.5 years. And I remember they flew me and a few members of GI out to Epic Studios in North Carolina for a Paragon event where they were showing us what they were working on, for the future of Paragon. They were trying to build up the Paragon community from a grassroots, because at this point the game was in alpha and beta. It wasn't fully released. So we went to this event, learned more about the future of Paragon and stuff. And then there was one point where we were in Epic Studios and they decided to give us a tour of the studio. And I remember they were showing us some statistics on their computer of like PS4 players to PC players in terms of ratio. I remember I turned to my left and there was like a little room with maybe 3 computers in there and a couple developers. And I asked one of the what's the word I'm looking for? One of the community managers at Epic. I was like, yo, what are they working on in there? Because the door was open. It wasn't closed. It was an unreleased game. The door was open and you could see like a little, it was Fortnite. He's like, oh, that's our game Fortnite. It's another game that we're working on. He's like, matter of fact, he's like, before you guys go, make sure to give me your emails. He's like, I'm gonna send you guys some codes for the closed alpha so you can check it out. They were dead ass begging us to play Fortnite. This is before the battle royale even existed. This was when it was just Save the World. Before it was called Save the World, it was just called Fortnite. It was just a tower defense game. Fucking battle royale was never in the plans for Fortnite. Never. They were begging us to play that fucking game. And I remember me and like Ethan was like, look at it, we just like laughing. Now we gonna play Paragon. Paragon here to stay. We love this game. Long and behold, Fortnite ended up killing Paragon. But anyway, that's beside the point. Fortnite would have never existed if PUBG wasn't so popular. PUBG caused competition, which created Fortnite. PUBG influenced a lot of games. All these fucking battle royale games, that's game design. Freaking people cosplaying with the frying pan and shit, that's impact. And I would argue PUBG would still be the #1 battle royale game to this day if they would have spent more time optimizing their game instead of rushing out content. And if they would have went free to play. When they saw Fortnite was free to play, you know motherfuckers love free shit. They should have switched it up and made it free to play. They could have reimbursed the people who paid the $30 with like some extra clothes or something, like a founder's pack or something like that, to make people feel better about paying that $30, and then make it free to play for everybody else, just to compete with Fortnite. So PUBG was definitely influential. Like I said, I didn't put 500 hours into that game by accident. I know it's cool to make fun of it now because it's kind of fallen by the wayside, but it was very influential at one point. I remember people were talking about making it game of the year when it was still in beta in 2017. And then let's get into Fortnite. Originally, when I talked about this on Twitch, I was not going to put Fortnite on the list. People were asking me what I think about Fortnite, and everybody kept saying about how popular it was or whatever. And my original counter argument to that was like, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's influential. Like, Fortnite would not exist if it wasn't for the success of PUBG, and that's why PUBG is influential. But as I was making my show notes, I fell back and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, you know what? It may have not been influential from a game design standpoint because Fortnite is just a straight ripoff besides the building mechanics. But I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It is influential from a cultural standpoint. It is one of the most influential games. So I was like, I'm gonna put Fortnite on the list, even though I can't stand this game. And you know what made me think about it? The other day I was in the grocery store, right? And I'm looking at drinks or whatever. You know, I like to get the the cran apple. You know, nothing too crazy. And there was this kid and his dad in the aisle next to me. And the kid started doing one of them weird ass Fortnite dances. And like, I looked at it, like, which one was it? It's the one where like you move your arms you move your hips and your arms at the same time, all stiff and shit. I forgot what it's called. I don't know them damn dances. I'm old. But he was doing one of them Fortnite dances, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this kid definitely, it's crazy that we can be out in public and a kid starts doing a dance and I'll be like, yeah, this kid definitely plays Fortnite. I was like, and then I thought about it, I was like, you know what, that's influence, because they brought them dances into the real world. So I was like, even though I can't stand the game, that's undeniable influence. Then you got people like Ninja hosting New Year's events and shit like that. That's influence. I was like, you know what? Fortnite is one of the most influential games, just not from a gameplay standpoint. Like I said, the building is unique, but I think it made a big cultural impact. All right. Moving on to the life section, the Q&A section of the podcast. I just would like to put a disclaimer out there, because I feel like I haven't been saying this for like the last few podcasts, but I need to remember to say this. Whatever advice I give, this is just my perspective. I'm not telling you absolutely have to do this. My word is not law. People are simply asking me questions, and I'm trying to answer them to the best of my ability. But you can do whatever the fuck you want with this info. And the first question, first of all, follow me on Twitter, because all these questions come from Twitter. Before every episode, I always post a tweet saying, hey, I'm working on show notes for the next episode. Reply to this tweet with whatever topics or suggestions you guys want me to talk about, or questions. And I take questions and topics from that thread, and I use it for the podcast. So make sure to follow me on Twitter at Mr_I keep it real. And the first question comes from Champagne Poppy, and he asked, what is the best place to live for creating content with friends with a startup? So it sounds to me like you're trying to create a stream team, or like a streamer house, because that's like the new popular thing for like the cool young. I'm a little too old to be living in a house with like 5 niggas and shit. I'm 29. Like I need my own personal space. But like, if you like it, like the new cool thing is like, if you between like 18 and like 21, or fucking people pull their resources together and they'll get like a house or like a big ass apartment, and then everybody gets a room, and then they create content together. They stream, they collab doing YouTube videos and stuff like that. The content creator house or whatever. That's the new thing. And that's basically what he's asking, because he wants to start one up. First things first, the best place. So do you want to get the dream, or do you want to get the realistic thing? Let's give you the dream. Let's be positive. All right, the dream. If you have the resources to live anywhere in the United States, which is, I'm gonna guess, is where you're from, the best places to live is a place where there is no state tax. And the reason for this being is, when you're making money online as a content creator from YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're doing, when they pay you in full. So let's say you made, I don't know, $2,000 in subs off of Twitch that month. They're going to pay you $2,000. The problem with that is, it's not like working a regular job. When you work a regular job, they take your taxes out of your check automatically. If you ever look at your job or your regular job, you look at that joint and they'll say you actually earn like $3,500, but they only pay you $2,000 because they had to take taxes out. And you'd be like, damn, they take a lot of fucking taxes out. When you work for yourself, nobody takes taxes out for you, because you're working for yourself. So the best way to be able to save as much money as possible is, which by the way, save like a third of your checks, so then when it's time to pay taxes, you'll have the money to pay it. You don't want to get caught up with that shit. But the best way to save as much money as possible, because you have to pay federal and state tax, is be in a state where there's no state taxes. And let's look it up, because I know there's 3 off the top of my head. In America, Florida has no state tax, Nevada has no state tax, and Texas has no state taxes. Those are like the places I'd be looking at. Let's see. States with no state tax. Okay, only 7 states have no personal tax. So the states are Wyoming, Washington, Texas, South Dakota, Nevada, Florida, and Alaska. Those are the 7 states that have no personal income state tax. And what this means is, when it's time to pay taxes, all you'll have to pay is your federal tax. You won't have to pay the state and the federal. So you get to keep more money in your pocket. So if you want to know the best state, it's one of them 7 states. Now, if you ask me, if you had to pick out of one of them 7 states, Wyoming is a hell no, because who the fuck wants to live amongst the cows and the fucking horses? There's more horses than people in Wyoming. Washington isn't cool, because Washington is cool because, you know, you have Seattle, you got fucking what else is in Washington? Yo, what else is cities? Hold on, cities in Washington. Oh man, I didn't mean to do y'all like that, Washington, but you did it for yourself. You got Seattle, you got Spokane. Don't nobody want to live in Tacoma. So yeah, you got Seattle and Washington. So yeah, if you want to live in Seattle, I guess, but I wouldn't pick Washington, because Seattle is one of the most expensive cities in the United States. So, and like I said, you want to keep as much money as possible, especially because you're young. Texas is a very high chance of a place that I want to go to, because it's big, it's cheap, it's warm down there, and then in Texas, you got Houston, you got Dallas, you got Austin, so you got some great cities down in Texas, and the cost of living is low, and then there's no state tax. So Texas is a viable option. South Dakota, fuck out of here. Nevada, if you want to live in Vegas, Vegas isn't bad because in Vegas, fucking cost of living is low, at least right now. When the Raiders move to Vegas, I think the rent is gonna probably go up, but the cost of living is pretty low in Nevada. I know you can get like a 1-bedroom for like $800 a month with like a pool and fucking air conditioning. You can get a nice little spot in Nevada or whatever. Or well, no, because you guys want a streamer house. There's no state tax. Consider Nevada. There's no state tax. The only problem with Nevada is all there is Vegas, kind of like Washington. All there is in Washington is Seattle. Don't nobody want to live in any other city besides Vegas. So, but it's on there. Then you got Florida. Florida's got some cool cities. You know, you got fucking Miami, Orlando. What other cities are in fucking Florida? Let's see. Florida cities, and there's no state tax there, so you get to be able to keep your more money. Jacksonville. You got Tampa, Fort Lauderdale. So you got some places. And the only problem with Florida is, you know, you got to deal with hurricanes, and then Alaska. Ain't nobody trying to live there. You're trying to be a fucking get off that. So that's what I would recommend for you. You want to be able to keep as much money as possible, because if you have more money in your pocket, that's more money that you can invest in yourself. Maybe you can buy some properties, or you want to upgrade your equipment, or you want to travel to create content. You want to be in a state where there is no state taxes, because I'm telling you right now, Uncle Sam is a fucking bitch, bro. Every April, Uncle Sam comes and he rapes me, bro. I swear to God, I hate that shit, dog. You don't want to deal with that shit. But that's like the dream. If you guys can move and find a place, you got the money for it. If you cannot move and you just want to get a place where you're at and you want to deal with your situation for now until you can move, best case scenario, just make sure you're focusing on creating content is the best advice I would give to you. I hate the term content creator, mainly because like I feel like the people who throw around that term the most are the people who don't even create content. People who don't know how to edit a video, just all they know how to do is start up a stream, and they probably started up off their fucking Xbox. They don't even know how to use OBS or fucking XSplit. They don't know how to edit videos. They don't know how to plan videos. They don't know how to script videos. They don't know how to use a camera correctly. Just using your camera on auto settings. Like, really take the time to work with what you got and use it and learn your equipment. I remember Black said on Twitter, and this is a really, really good quote. Like, don't be out here with fucking level 50 equipment and you're a level 1 warrior, if that makes sense. Like, don't go out and buy $1,000 camera and you don't know how to use ISO, you don't know what depth of field is, you don't know what the aperture does. You just put that shit on manual, because then you're just wasting fucking money. Just use whatever cheap, like, yo, people don't, like, just fucking do it. Like, I've uploaded 4 videos on my hygiene page on Instagram. It's Hygienic Hokage, and 3 of those videos I shot with my iPhone. The vlog that I have on my YouTube channel where I did, I went to Disneyland, I shot that with my iPhone, bro. Now, the podcast in which I'm recording this this camera with, if you watch the video version at youtube.com/theblack-hokage, this is an expensive camera, I'm not gonna lie, but that's because I've worked myself up to this shit. I've been doing this shit for 12 years, but like, I've used cheaper cameras. Like, it's not like you have a good camera in your phone, and if you want to have a dedicated camera, you don't need to start off with a fucking $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 camera. You can get a decent camera for like $300, bro, $200. Shit, you could probably get one used for cheaper. Like, humble yourself, really take the time to learn. People need to focus more on what's their niche. Like, who are you? What's your brand? That's something we're gonna talk about in a little bit later. But you need to focus more on actually creating content ideas. Like, and the best example I can give is me and Black always talk about this shit too. Fucking RDC World. I love their videos. They're funny as shit, but like, their fucking camera quality is fucking awful. Like, not the actual image quality, but like, they don't know how, whoever's shooting their videos, they don't know how to shoot video correctly, and the shit irks the fuck out of me. But at the same time, I don't care, because their content is who they are, and and what they say and what they do. That's the content. Who you are, what you say, what you do, and what you bring to the camera. It's not the camera itself. Everything else is like a bonus. So actually focus on creating the content. Now, if RDC World would just focus on how to actually learn how to capture video correctly, the main thing that be pissing me off about their videos is like when they go and record in the sun, like the sun be all bright in the background. They need to turn down their ISO on their damn camera. Basically, they're recording and they're letting too much light into the lens. If they would just turn that down, the image quality would be so much better. So it would take their work to the next level. So if anybody hears this from RDC World, I love you guys' content, but please learn how to use a damn camera. But at the same time, I could argue that's probably the charm of their videos. They don't give a fuck. which further proves my point. It's not always about, don't go out and spend $2,000 on a camera and you don't even have any fucking content. The focus is always content. Don't go out there and buy a big ass mansion with your friends and you guys don't have any fucking ideas. You guys need to write down a list of ideas that you can just flow out. Boom, boom, video. Because that's what it's all about. It's about flooding the streets. It's about being a volume shooter, like being efficient. The days of being efficient and creating super high quality content is over unless you have tons of money. Most people are just volume shooters. You just want to be in people's faces because out of sight is out of mind. I gave you way more than what you probably asked for, but that's what I would tell you to do. You got a cheap little webcam and a PC that can barely stream, work with it. Fucking work with it, bro. I still edit on this fucking old ass iMac that I got. My iMac is like 5 years old, bro. Like I want another one, but I don't need one, so I save my money. Like, just take your time, really learn, figure out who you are, and work on your craft versus spending a bunch of money on equipment and buying a big place to produce things and shit. Like, make sure you know how to light a green screen. Oh my fucking god, dog. Let me tell you something. Nothing, and this is why I stopped giving advice to people, like especially other streamers. The streaming community on Twitch is so fucking obnoxious and annoying to me. It's so many self-destructive people with self-destructive behaviors where like you try to give them advice. Like, I be in other people's streams and like their green screen, it's poorly. So for those of you unaware, then first of all, I've been working with film since like middle school. I know my way around a fucking camera. You can't tell me shit. I know how to edit. I've been editing since middle school. I'm 29 years old. I've been editing for almost 20 fucking years. Okay. And I'm sick and tired of people I try to give advice. Their green screen will be poorly lit. This is an example. It'll be poorly lit and I'll be like, yo, your green screen is acting the way it is because your lighting's off. You need more lighting. My light's on. I don't know, man. I think something's wrong with my green screen. There's nothing wrong. First of all, there can be nothing wrong with your green screen because all the green screen is you're keying out the green and oh my lord, bruh. You need better lighting. You need white lighting, like fluorescent lighting. I mean, that looks more natural. You shouldn't, if you're lighting a green screen, pro tip, you should have at least 2 or 3 lights. One light is not going to cut it because you're going to create shadows, especially because a lot of y'all be sitting super close to your screen. You're not supposed to be doing that because it creates a shadow. But at bare minimum, you need to be having multiple lights. One light is not enough. And you be trying to give people advice and they'll be like, no, I think my green screen is broke. All right, bro. All right, I'm done talking to you, bro. And this is why a lot of people don't progress. Fuck content creation. This is just in life, period, bro. Educate yourself. I spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to do things, bro. I'm not gonna just do something to do something, bro. I've had this camera that I'm recording with right now. I'm pretty sure a lot of this camera crispy as fuck. I've had this camera for like a few weeks now, but like I didn't put it into place until I was use it for like the podcast until I was 100% sure that I was confident with using it. You know what I'm saying? Build your confidence. I guess that's the advice I'm trying to give you. Build your confidence, and that'll come from learning. But if you have unlimited resources, you have a bunch of money, you got some capital backing there, shit, move to a state where there's no income tax. Just make sure you actually generating revenue, because that's an interesting question. Where's the best place to live to build as a content creator house? I think you should focus on building revenue first. Do you have revenue coming in? Do you have unless all your friends have a job lined up in another state? If you guys are able to find another job in a state where there's no income tax and you can get a place there, then go for it, because then you get to save some of your money. There's your advice. That was a freaking mouthful. Let me take a swig of this water real quick. Shit. Next question comes from Blitz on Twitter. Follow me, man. Mr. _ I keep it real. He says, my question is, when you're working to build your content creator, your YouTube, Twitch online, but don't have a niche to stick to, how do you properly get your name out there, network, and take the right steps without being obnoxious about it and making progress, no matter how small? The answer to your question is within your question itself. You asked, when working to build as a content creator, but you don't have a niche to stick with? There's your answer right there. Why are you trying to network with people when you don't have a brand? What is the purpose of that? Let me give you an example, right? So branding is important. What is Subway known for? Pedophilia. Come on, guys. They hired Jared. Let me stop. All right, jokes aside, what is Subway known for? Subs. What is Burger King known for? Burgers. All right. What is Ninja known for? Fortnite. What is Shroud known for? Being really good at fucking everything he plays. You see what I'm saying? I can point to people, or you can say, what am I known for? I'm known for being like the funny guy, I guess, the guy who gives advice. I don't know, I guess. Every one of your favorite content creators, you can point to them and you can easily say what they're known for. If you're trying to network before you even have an idea of who you are, then you're hustling backwards. You're wasting your fucking time. What is the point of going up to somebody and saying, hey, you should work with me, and then they ask you why and you have no answer? It's like, that's like trying to go to a law firm and be like, hey, I want to apply for your law firm. Well, do you have a degree in law? I'd be like, no, I like to debate people. I'd be like, all right, bro. Like, you got, so like you answered your own question. You need to figure out what you want to do. And until you have that answer, there's no point in even networking. Like, the answer is have a strong brand, because to be honest, strong brands speak for themselves. A lot of times, sometimes you have to go out and network with other people, but a lot of times you don't. Like, they'll find you. If your shit is hot, people are going to find you and send you emails, and they're going to want to work with you. So I would suggest you figure out what you want to do with your content. And to be honest, you kind of reinforce what I said in the first question from Champagne Poppy. Like, I hate how the term content creator is thrown around from people who don't have an idea of what they're creating, or they don't even really create any content. Like, you don't even know what your niche is. And I'm not saying that to insult you. I'm just saying that to be real with you. But you're calling yourself a content creator. What content are you creating, bro? That's the question. You need to ask yourself the hard questions. The next question comes from Tyler. He says, do you have any regrets in life or events that you would do over again? Nah, I don't. If you always looking back, you're gonna miss what's in front of you. There might be an opportunity in front of you. I just don't. I'm the type of person, like, if I'm having a bad day, I just go to bed early. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of weird. I have my off days, but like I said, I'll just go to bed early, and usually the next day I don't harp over shit. I don't see the point in constantly looking back. How are you gonna move forward if you constantly looking back? Like, if you watching the video version, like, imagine living your life like this and you walking forward. You're gonna be running into poles and shit. Like, what the fuck? That shit don't make no sense. So nah, I don't really have any regrets. Especially because a lot of the dumb shit you do is when you're younger and you're immature. Like, it just there's things that I did when I was younger that I wouldn't do now, but I don't necessarily regret it. I was just young and stupid. Plus, also, I feel like regrets come for people who do like crazy shit. Like, I'm not a bitch ass nigga. I'm not a fucking pedophile. I'm not a stalker or a creep. I haven't robbed anybody. I don't commit crimes. Like, those are the type of things that people regret. Like, oh, dog, man, I'm sitting in this jail cell. I shouldn't have murdered that nigga, bro. Like, I don't do crazy shit. So there's nothing I really regret. I don't know. Stop looking back. Get money, fuck bitches. Next question comes from CJ 2 times, and he says, why do you think this younger generation is into, y'all worded this weird. Why do you think this younger generation is into or identifies with I'm sad type of hip hop rap like Juice WRLD? I think this younger generation is into emo rap because it's like, that's like the cool thing to talk about now, mental health. I think mental health is more on the forefront. It's more acceptable to talk about it, especially like with men being more in tune with their feelings instead of this whole toxic masculinity thing. I'm very masculine, but I'm not going to apologize for that. But I think that's the reason. It's just more acceptable. We used to live in an age where people were like, just suck it up with everything. And I don't think that's healthy to tell everybody to suck it up. I think there's some things where people do need to shut the fuck up and suck it up. Like, motherfuckers are pussy. But then there's other times where, like, there's other shit I do agree with is very toxic. And it's like, yo, sometimes a nigga gotta get a cry in, bro. Like, let that shit out or take a fucking nap or some shit like that. Like, I personally feel like motherfuckers just too extreme. I'm in the middle. There's some things, like I said, I think you need to suck it up. And there's other things where, like, bottom line is, I think it's just more acceptable. That's all. It ain't even that deep. I'm not into it, but, you know, I'm not mad at anybody who is. And then the last question comes from Rich, and he says, You mentioned on a previous episode that Black had to tell you that when you used to walk into certain rooms for meetings or whatnot, people would be intimidated by you. Is that the way you carry yourself? Is it an advantage? And I'm curious. I don't purposely carry myself to try to intimidate people. I would advise anybody against that. First of all, that shit sounds weird. Like, just walk around with your fucking shoulders out, like muscles bulging and shit, like fucking Larry the Lobster and shit. I'll beat your fucking ass. Like, no. I think you're misconstruing what I was saying and what he was saying to me. What he's saying is there's like a certain energy about me. It's like a don't fuck with me type of energy, but that it's not a fuck you type of energy. Like, this is another question I'll just throw on there. Somebody asked me like, what's the worst experience that you've ever had with viewers? Personally, from like when I go to conventions, I've never had one bad experience with a viewer that I've met. Like, everybody's very respectful. And I think that's what Black was trying to say. Like, people just have a certain level of like respect for you. They know not to try you. Like, I personally believe a lot of times people make themselves out to be victims, like with the way that they carry themselves. Like, and I just have like that certain energy. Like, don't fucking play with my time. My time is money. And like, I don't purposely go around trying to, that shit is weird. I don't try to intimidate people. Like, the energy that I project, you can't fake it. You can't fake the funk. It's like, it's that real alpha shit, bro. It's a reason women fuck with me, dog. You can't fake that type of energy. And that comes with like time, experience, and like confidence. That's like something younger me. I don't know if younger me is just kind of going with the flow. But now, like, I'm sure about who I am. And like, there's certain things that once you're sure about yourself and you know your worth, there's certain things that you will and you will not tolerate. And I think I project that pretty well, but I don't do that to like scare people. That's just who I am, legitimately. And I would not encourage anybody to try to be that way. I would encourage you to be yourself. If that's how you turn out to be, cool. But I'd encourage you to live life, experience things, and however you turn out, whatever, you know, sugar spice, a little everything nice, that's how you turn out. There's a place for people like me. There's a place for people like you. Everybody has a role, but the key is you got to figure out what your role is. Like, I always joke that fucking Data Dave, the streamer, he's my Malcolm X. I'm not my Malcolm X. He's my Martin Luther King, and I'm Malcolm X, basically, like Twitch. Like, there's a place for him. He's very diplomatic and he's very friendly, but I would argue sometimes he's a little bit too nice. And I'm on the opposite side of the pole, I guess. We had the same goals. Like, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X had the same goals: equality for black people, economic advantage for black people. But it's just the way that they went about it. There's certain things I'll put my foot down on. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And you can't tell me otherwise. People are too easily influenced by certain things. And it's like, nah, I'm not doing that. There's a place for both in the world. I don't know if that explained it better, but no, I don't walk around like, fuck you. Not like you're making it seem like I'm some type of mob boss or some shit like that. Nah, it's just don't play with my fucking time or my money. You got something to say? Like I just don't. I don't understand the idea of trying to be friends with everybody. I like to establish what we are. Like, yo, this is a business transaction, my G. We are not friends, dog. You are my associate. That's the type of shit I be trying to get to. I'm a straight shooter. I get straight to the point. And I think that intimidates people because I'm very blunt about what I want. I am not afraid to tell you. I say it on stream all the fucking time. Yo, Mixer, cut the fucking check, bro. Like, it baffles me how many people sit on these platforms talking about some, I went to Mixer because I want to get back to my roots. The roots of what, nigga? I'm in it for the money. I have no problem saying it, bro. That shit is fucking weird to sit there and let a little I'm a grown ass man. I'm not letting no fucking 14, 13-year-olds that never live no life dictate anything about my fucking life, bro. As long as you keeping your integrity, you being honest and transparent about what you're doing, and it's legal, you have no right to tell anybody how they pay their bills. It's fuck you, bro. What I'm doing is there's nothing wrong with it. I told you it was a sponsorship. If you don't like it, come back in an hour, pussy. How about that? Because I got bills to pay. And I'm not calling you a pussy in specific. I be going on tangents. I apologize, y'all. Like I said, it's just like a certain energy, and that comes with confidence and like experience. I know what I want, and that's a whole lot of money. So I can buy a house and just wither away. Like, I just want to blow away in the dust so y'all can leave me alone. Yo, how many of y'all have played Assassin's Creed Revelations? If you played Assassin's Creed Revelations, I'm going to spoil the ending because it doesn't really matter. The game's like fucking 5 years old. At the end, when Ezio finds Altair sitting in that little, what was it? I think it was in his book room. Because when Altair died, he was holding like the apple of Eden or something like that, and he went to his book room in his like Batman cave, and he sat in his book room, and he basically was just holding the apple, and he just sat there and withered away. And then Ezio found him like 200 years later sitting there blowing in the desert. That's what I want to be, bro. I just want to get me a bat cave with some books and some video games and just leave me the fuck alone, bro, because I hate everybody. All right, that's the end of the podcast. I'm joking. I'm serious though. I want a bat cave. Last but not least, music. Nothing too crazy. I've really been out of the loop. Yo, tweet me at Mr. _ I keep it real on Twitter. What's some give me some music suggestions. I need something to listen to, something new, because I've been kind of listening to the same things over and over. What the 2 new things that I have been listening to, only one is new. This actually just came out like last night. Davies just dropped an album called Survival. Fire. The production, fire, bars. I haven't heard one bad song on there. I gotta listen to another. I only went through one playthrough, but like the first listens, that shit hard, bro. It's not gonna be for everybody. It's like real like street shit, bro. What's my favorite song on there? Fucking I think it's something to school. Hold up, let me see. Davies. Something to school. I love that fucking track 5, On My Way to School. That shit is real, bro. That shit, like, this is the type of album for people who've been through shit, bro. It's not gonna be for everybody. All you little weird ass niggas that be following me from Twitch, like, I appreciate y'all support, but y'all not really gonna feel this. Like, real street shit, bro. Niggas that's been in the hood, been through shit, been through real life shit. Like, you gonna fuck with this Survival album. And then Polo G's album, Diet Legend, I've been listening to that. I think it came out like in August. It came out like this summer. It's not new. It's somewhat new. But I just got around to listening to it. That joint hard too. I fuck with Polo G. He from Chicago, just cause like he don't be saying nothing like unique. But like, and the same thing with like Davies, like, they don't be saying nothing unique, but I be feeling what they saying. Like, it's the passion in their voice. I'm a person who's big on energy. I feel their energy. Like, yo, when I listen to Polo G, like, this dude ain't lying. Like, he ain't glorifying his life. He just saying like, yo, this is what I went through. Like, this is my life. This shit crazy. I got anxiety. Like, this shit crazy, bro. It just speak to me. Like, I don't know, real street shit. But anyways, I'm done talking. My fucking throat is fucking dry as a motherfucker. So I appreciate everybody coming through to the podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to rate Hokage Thots 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Also consider financially supporting the show. If you would like to, head over to redcircle.com/shows/Hokage Thots, and you can subscribe for $5 a month, or you can make a one-time donation for however much you like. Just look for the red sponsor button at this podcast. I can't talk. Just look for the red sponsor this podcast button that's below the cover art on redcircle.com/shows/Hokage Thots. Other than that, that's all I got to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you didn't, oh well, you'll be all right. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of Hokage Thots.